Hello, and welcome once again to the Dental Marketing Mastery Series. This podcast is brought to you by dentalwebcontent.com and New Patients Incorporated. I'm Howie Horrocks, the founder of New Patients Incorporated. Along with me once again is my friend and partner and the president of New Patients Incorporated, Mark Dilatush. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. We're glad you're with us, and you don't have to suffer my solo efforts anymore because we have Mark back. How you doing, Mark?
I missed your solo effort. I must listen to it. Yeah, I did.
You should go listen to it. No, maybe you shouldn't.
I'm sure it's very worthy. I just haven't heard it yet.
Okay. Anyway, I think what we've settled on to talk about, there's been some conversations here about, I'm stuck at 20 new patients or whatever, and how to go beyond where you are now, I think is a title that might describe it, right?
Yeah. And we're having these conversations. I don't listen to all the advisors' conversations, but I'm going to easily say multiple times each week. So I thought it would make a good topic for everyone. We're in the middle of a rebound economically. Most of you are in areas now where housing values have at least returned to 2007, somewhere around sanity levels. And that's largely fueling the rebound. And dentists are now busier because of it. So all those times during the recession that you were less than busy or less busy than you wanted to be, you're probably a little more busy now than you're prepared for.
Yeah, so people have money to spend on dentistry and they have credit now that they didn't have before.
Exactly. That's from a macroeconomic standpoint. All of that is true. Okay. So, we know that trickles down to dentistry. Dentistry lost $18 billion a year for 6-7 years. So eventually that's going to come back into the dental market. So that time is upon us. And of course, we work with lots of practices, and concurrently those practices are they're doing really well. Okay. So, and then we follow up with practices and they say, I don't know, Mark or Lee or Jane or Sal or, I don't know if I want to do any more than I'm doing. I can't seem to get off of this number of new patients. And the number can change. Obviously it changes. It's, if it's a one dentist practice, it's probably around 20. If it's 2 doctor practice, probably around 35. If it's a 3 doctor practice, it's probably around, 55, 60. Whatever your situation is, the indication is a number of new patients that you just can't seem to beat, right? Even if you have team meetings, even if you incentivize your team to bring in more new patients, or even if you send them to a scheduling course, right? You probably still are going to have a very difficult time getting beyond where you are if you don't recognize some of the contributing issues and take corrective actions to get them fixed. Okay? So let's start with the first most obvious one. And you've heard me rail against this for, I don't know, how many podcasts are we on? Like 110 or something?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Well, in that neighborhood.
Right. So in
113, actually.
113. Okay. So
thank you, Josh.
Yeah. And probably in 10 of the 113, you heard me get up on my soapbox and tell people the evil ways of pre-appointing hygiene. So,
oh yes,
Or
We gave a big speech at Dental Town one year about that. Remember that?
yeah, the place was packed, and they were all writing notes. They were all like, "Wow, this is
This is
all
a new
makes
concept.
sense." Right? Exactly.
Everybody pre-appoints. Everybody in the world knows that, right?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to just give my time away for nothing. The world isn't entitled to me, right? Okay, so I'm sorry, but so one of the big contributing, one of the first problems that it rears its ugly head is this seeming addiction to pre-appointing every human being that walks out of your office for their next 6-month cleaning. So what? Now follow along with this. What happens is if you do that, not for 100%, let's say 90% of your patients, what happens is you're taking up time in the schedule 6 months from now, and only about 70% of those patients will adhere to that, and 30% you'll be chasing around. So, but you're still taking the availability away. Okay.
The capacity.
Right. You're right. You're saying, I'm booked up. It's kind of like calling a motel. And the motel said, yeah, no, we're booked up because these 35 people were here 6 months ago and I just stuck them in. And that day that you want, I'm booked. Okay. So as you get closer and closer and closer, things, you tend to see things or feel things in your dental practice. You start hearing things like, "Doc, we got to do something with the hygiene schedule. I got no place to put existing patients." Okay. And if you're hearing that from the people at your front desk, there's a couple of things going on here. Number one, you're probably pre-appointing everybody. Number two, the front desk is probably getting some pressure from existing patients because the only appointments that are available 6 months out are, 11:30 in the morning on a Tuesday and 1:40 in the afternoon on a Thursday. The least desirable appointment times during the week because everybody's at work, right? So the existing patients start to complain about the lack of availability, and pretty soon the book gets further and further and further and further booked out, and then your front desk comes to you and says, "Hey, Doc, we got to address this issue." So again, let's remember you're reserving time in your schedule 6 months from now, and about 30% of that is just 100% pure fantasy. Okay. Okay. It's just fantasy, right? So, okay. So that's the big, that's what kind of starts this whole snowball. Okay. So we got to pay attention to that. But then the second thing you pay attention to, remember, in our scenario, we have a practice. They've been kind of stuck. Let's just make an example practice. Let's say it's a single doctor practice, 5 ops, 2 hygienists, 4 days a week. And they're stuck on 20 new patients a month, but the doctor wants to grow. But the doctor can't get past that 20 new patients, a month. So we look at the calls and we look at, the things and we say, well, you should be getting more than 20 new patients a month. And the doc says, nope, stuck on 20 new patients a month. Okay, that's the situation. You say to yourself, well, what the heck is going on? Well, one of the problems is nobody can find a place to make an appointment. So you look at your hygiene, you look at your pre-appointment, you say, okay, I'm going to go fix that. And we've already gone through the ways to fix that. You have your A patients, your B patients, and your C patients, and you only allow A patients to pre-appoint, and your B and C patients don't get a chance to pre-appoint. They don't deserve it. They're going to get recall cards, and they're going to have an opportunity to call and take that 1:40 appointment on Thursday because that's the only one available. But you're not just going to give them a primetime appointment, because they don't deserve it because they missed or broke their last appointment. Why would you give them another appointment? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you're going to fix that. Then the next thing you're going to do, and this is the part that's additional to what we've already mentioned in previous podcasts, is you're going to do block scheduling. You're going to do block scheduling correctly. Now, this will work tomorrow. you can start. This is something that you can take from this podcast right now, and you can apply it tomorrow if you're going to work tomorrow. You know what, Howie? Let's take a break.
Yeah, good idea. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is Howie Horrocks, and along with me is Mark Dilatush, the president of New Patients Incorporated. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, Howie. How are you? This is the part of the podcast where we get to brag about our company.
Yay.
So sometimes it gets lost in all these podcasts what New Patients Incorporated actually does. We have, I don't know how many podcasts, 75, 80, one a week for well over a year. And all of you listen to these a half hour at a time, and you might lose sight of what we do. So here's the short answer. We do everything we're talking about in these podcasts on behalf of our clients. Okay. The podcasts are there for our clients, of course, just so they understand what the heck we're doing, but also for the doctors who are do-it-yourselfers. If you're not a do-it-yourselfer and you want someone to do this for you, newpatientsinc.com. There's an icon in the dead center at the top of our homepage where you can get a complimentary marketing plan. A series of questions will need to be completed. And once you complete that, we will analyze your market area, develop a marketing plan, and get on the phone with you, discuss all the sections of the marketing plan, just to make sure you understand a couple of things: what you're up against, what your expectations should be, and what Mark and Howie would do if we owned your dental practice.
All right, we are back. We are talking about, well, you know what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, it's like the weather girl at... And there's weather coming Thursday and Friday, but you have to watch our news at 6:00 to find out what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so the other thing you can do, and you can do this starting tomorrow, is it's really just math. Let's take our scenario. Offices averaging 20 new patients a month, single doctor practice, which is about the number of patients a single doctor needs to grow revenues basically exponentially forever if they're good, solid new patients. But the doctor wants to expand, right? The doctor wants to bring in an associate. So you need more new patients to bring in the associate. But he's got this bottleneck of, on his schedule. So we're definitely going to fix the recall system, and we're also going to start block scheduling correctly. So here's how you do it. You take the number of new patients that you've been averaging for the last 6 months. How do you do that? You just go, give me a new patient list for the last 6 months in your practice management software, divide the total number by 6. There you go. There's your number. So let's say it's 20. You multiply that number times 120%. 120% of 20 is 24. And you block your schedule with 24 blocks. The blocks are the amount of time it takes for you to see a new adult patient, and you block him in the rooms where you bring in your new patients. Some people bring in new patients through hygiene. Some people bring in new patients through the doctor's schedule. It's up to you. What we're saying is for next month and every month thereafter, you need 24 blocks. And those blocks need to be the first early morning appointments every weekday and the latest appointments in the afternoon or early evening on your weekdays. Those are the most those are the most sought after, attractive appointment times. You don't try to make a new patient take that 1:40 on a Thursday appointment. You invite them to take the 5:00 appointment on a Thursday so they can come after work. Maybe you have to get out of work a half hour early, right? But they can come in for their first appointment in your practice and then just go home.
It's
right?
more convenient.
Much more convenient. Okay, so you block those. Now, anyone who's ever blocked a schedule knows that it doesn't end there. So now you got to bring your team together. And you have to say, look, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. We're stuck on 20 new patients a month. We need to create enough openings in our schedule to allow new patients to make appointments, either online through the local med portal or when they call our telephone number. We have to have enough room to bring in more than 20 new patients a month. So we're going to make the room. And hygienists, now, please take this the right way. Go get a jar. And for every existing patient you put into one of those blocks, you put $5 in this jar. That's your penalty. And the front desk, they're going to have to do the same thing. This is our oops jar. Okay? You're not allowed to take these appointments for existing patients. I don't care how much they cry. Okay? Now, obviously, as you get closer to that new patient block still being open, let's say you're within 36 hours, well, then you can just let your front desk folks know, hey, look, if you're within 36 hours of one of these new patient blocks and no new patient has taken it, well, go ahead and fill it in. Well, what's the easiest appointment time in your book to fill? Early morning, early evening. Okay. There's 5,000 existing patients who would go, you're kidding me, I'll take it. Right. So it's not going to be a big deal to fill the most convenient appointments that you have in your entire book. Okay. It's going to be really easy to fill those. What'll happen over time is all of a sudden, with the same amount of advertising, marketing, spend, whatever you're spending right now, magically, this practice will go from 20 to 21 to 22 to 23 and to 24 new patients a month. It'll be amazing. Okay. All of a sudden, people will actually have openings they want to choose, and they will choose them, and they will increase your new patient numbers. Now, every 2 months, you do your math again. Here's why. Because in 2 months, you might be at 24, and you don't want to put a bottle cap over your practice at 24 either. So you multiply 24 times 120%, you end up with 29. Okay, now we need 29 blocks for the month. And you just keep blocking out for new patients based on the number of new patients you're currently averaging over the last 6 months times 120%. You do that, and in 6 to 8 months, for the same advertising spend, the same staff spend, the same number of phone calls, the same everything, you're going to end up with another 25 or 30% more new patients for the same everything. You're going to be growing smartly. Okay? So, 2 steps. 1, fix your recall system. Stop pre-appointing the world. Okay? Number 2, block appropriately. Yes, it's going to take a while because you can't go out and block next month because there's patients already booked in those spots. But you can block 6 months from now. And then because 6 months is going to go by really quick. So, 5 or 6 months from now, you're going to start seeing automatically more new patients with 0 additional expense, 0 additional effort on the part of your staff. Okay. And you're going to be enjoying more of the fruit of what your marketing has been producing for you all along. You just unknowingly put a cap on it.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Well, it does now that you've explained it. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. I'm going to have 2 more of these conversations this week. I guarantee it, because there's a lot of busy dentists out there, right? And they're they're actually getting to the point where they don't know what to do. They're enjoying it, right?
It's a different kind of problem, but it's still a problem, right?
Exactly. It's not, oh, I'm slow. It's, wow, I'm really busy and I don't really know what to do with it. And that's a great way to make everything slow, steady, and predictable growth.
Yeah. Well, great. That'll do it for today. Thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you tune us again next week. Until then, have a great one.
Bye-bye.
We hope you've enjoyed our podcast today. You can find more podcasts on our YouTube channel, on Stitcher, and iTunes. Also on our websites, dentalwebcontent.com and newpatientsinc.com.